So hi, how y'all doing? So do y'all know how expensive it is to be a gay stand-up comic? Between the jock straps, the cock rings, and the high colonics, woo, we can get up there quick. And not to mention the merch. So like my little grinder reveal party, if you will. I guess my version of the gender reveal party, if you will. He's gay, rainbow smoke, California guys and worst fires. My Grindr profile says that if I'm in your neighborhood and not normally on your grid, that means I'm probably fucking your neighbor, and it's probably the one you're thinking of. So the other day, this guy hit me up and said, "Are you fucking my neighbor? And is it the one I'm thinking of?" And I said, "I don't know. Does your mom live in your neighborhood?" And he goes, "My mom is dead. Are you fucking my dead mom?" And I said, "Well, I was, until she ghosted me." And he came back with, "Ha!" And I said, "Sir, this is never gonna work. Because I am into aggressive bottoms, some light BDSM, and puns. And what you should have said after my ghosted comment was, boo!" Where am I? Line! Boy, Trump's economy sure is terrifying. You know what? That's basically what we should do. That anytime he crosses a line, blurs a line, fucks over the line, does a line with the sun, we should think to ourselves for a second, line, and then do whatever we can to make it a better place. You know, just take a moment to contribute back to the world. Line. So, what are the 3 scariest words you could ever hear from Jeffrey Dahmer? Give me head. Yeah. So when I was in college, I was house sitting for a friend of mine. And obviously when you house sit for a friend of yours, you want to watch their porn collection. So I'm sitting there, listening to music, watching porn. It was called Ass Man and the Wasp, which I thought was going to be about a big black man fucking Anderson Cooper. But I digress. So I'm listening to music, watching porn, and this is how old he is. He had a 5 CD disc changer, and the CD changes, and, well, I know I should have got up and changed the CD myself, but my hands were full, believe it. So the CD and the porn slowly started to sync up. Oh, I forgot to tell you what the CD was. It was the soundtrack to Les Mis. So all of a sudden it goes, it'll come, it'll come, it'll come, and it did. And there I was jerking off on my own. So when I was younger, I was in love with the Little Mermaid. All I wanted her to do was be part of my world. But then after thinking about it as I became an adult, you know that bitch had crabs. And so, they recently did the live-action version of The Little Mermaid, and everybody was all up in arms about the Black Little Mermaid. I was like, you know what? Y'all need to calm the fuck down. We don't know what mermaids look like, because they don't exist. And in addition to that, they made Ursula into a white woman, played by Melissa McCarthy, which was just another example of a white woman trying to steal a black girl's voice. And they also recently did the version of Snow White, the live-action version of Snow White, which it was Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, but they axed the and dwarfs part and just called it Snow White. Then Peter Dinklage, do you know that dwarf from Game of Thrones? And I checked, we call them thrones. Yeah, well, the dwarf from Game of Thrones, he actually was all up in arms and got up on his soapbox because Disney was using CGI dwarfs and not dwarf actors. Well, Disney came back and said that they had consulted the dwarf community, which I can only assume was a very small community. And their reactions were quite varied. Some were happy, some were grumpy, some were I know, yeah, that was good, right? So, I'm the youngest of 4 kids, and my closest sibling is 9 years older than I am. It goes, Jimmy, Gary, Darla, wait, oops, Mark. And my brother Gary actually calls me Math. Now you may be asking yourself, why, Mark, are you good at math? Negative. He calls me Math because my last name is Addison. And he holds up a sign when he picks me up from the airport that says Math because he thinks that Math stands for Mark Addison the Homo. Oh yeah, it's baby steps. It's really baby steps, yeah. So, my parents, he's been parking his Corvette in my parents' garage as storage for quite some time. So I was thinking about this the other day, and I called him up and said, Gary, have you been paying rent to park your small penis car in Mom and Dad's garage? He goes, nope. And that's not a small penis car, that's a big penis car. And I said, negative! That's not the way the rest of the world sees it. Because Gary plus Corvette equals small penis. And that's just simple math. Line! Hey, I'm Mark Addison. Here we go.